pulling open the heavy oak door to the pub. Laughter rolled out into the street, and Allison forgot how cold it was. She was home. Slow and steady quickly turned into fast and furious. Before long, Allison was perched on the bar stool, sloppy drunk, singing maudlin Irish songs that made her cry. She had inherited her mother's voice, if not her rock-solid sense of decency. She didn't care right now that she was surrounded by men she had charmed before she went over the edge, men who had already ordered more drinks for her, enough drinks to seal the deal. Even if they lost interest, Charlie, the bartender she'd known most of her life, had collected the cash and would dole the booze out on demand. She wasn't positive, but she thought she'd promised to go home with what's-his-name with the blonde hair. It would be good not to be alone. Soon she would feel nothing. All in all, it was a good night. She stopped singing as she caught sight of herself in the mirror over the bar. The golden light in O'Lunny's added a special glow to her curly red hair. It looked as if it hadn't been brushed in a week. Her violet eyes no longer held the sparkle Mike used to dote on. At this moment they seemed buried in a once beautiful face, bloated from too many nights like this. She made a face at herself in the mirror. Makeup streaked her cheeks from the crying jag her own singing had brought on. She had lipstick on her teeth. No one would believe she was only 29 years old. For some reason, the image of her ruined visage struck her as funny. She was laughing as she slid off the bar stool, knocked over 2 more stools, and landed on the floor. She still laughed as she lay there, her skirt up around her hips, tights torn, makeup still streaming down her face. And then she was sobbing, that broken, self-pitying drunk's cry for rescue. One of her would-be suitors helped her struggle to her feet. The blonde one, the one she thought would be her comfort for the night, stepped around her and headed for the door. No matter. She would rather be alone with her memories. That was when she saw Mike. He was standing on the other side of the bar, just looking at her, staring. Mike. It was Mike. Her mouth went dry. Her heart was pounding so hard she couldn't breathe. What was happening? Mike was dead. Killed in action in the Middle East 2 years ago. He was dead. It flashed through her mind that she was hallucinating, but she knew better. She wasn't that far gone. Mike was here, and he was seeing what had become of the woman he had once loved. He hadn't changed a bit in the 2 years since she'd last seen him. The same steel-blue eyes, military bearing, and rugged good looks. And the same look of pain he'd had on his face when she'd said all those terrible things the last time they were together. Before he died, before she died with him. But this was Mike, alive. She started towards him, 1,000 questions, 1,000 apologies forming in her brain. His stare stopped her in her tracks. His eyes were dead, filled with pity. Or was it disgust? He turned and walked away. She had to hang on to the bar to keep from running after him. She loved him too much to beg for one more chance, to embroil him in the hell her life had become. She had long since used up her second chances. Allison looked back at her reflection in the mirror. What she saw there was no longer funny. The shock of seeing him had cleared her mind enough for her to see what Mike had seen. A loud, blousy, desperate, drunken woman. "Charlie," she said to the bartender, when she could finally speak. He started to refill her glass, but she waved the bottle away. "Call Midtown South Precinct. Ask them to tell Jimmy to come and get his sister. Tell him she wants to come home." The Beginning, 2014. Allison and Jimmy, Breezy Point. "Looks like somebody robbed the place." The massive shoulders of a police officer with copper-colored hair almost filled the doorway of the little shop. Allison Jones, whose hair was the identical color, made a face at her brother. "Fat chance of that with you and Dad patrolling the street out there day after day."